I started writing it in 2019, I thought it was a really interesting and relevant story. But then as I started to research and as I started to write, it's the stories around me started to snowball. So in 2021, suddenly Naomi Osaka is talking about, athletes needing the odd bit of respite from press, or Emma Raducanu is talking about anxiety. Simone Biles is talking about mental health. Female psychology in 2021 was under the spotlight as it's never been before. At the same time, there were stories, darker stories surfacing, from Wrexham and so on. And it became very clear that in terms of safeguarding, in terms of sort of the power balance between coaches and athletes, it's a bit of a hothouse. And in terms of the safeguarding, that's a dangerous world. Whether you are a coach and allegations can be made against you, maybe when you haven't done anything, it's also very tricky and dangerous for young athletes who are sometimes left vulnerable. So I thought, actually, it's the perfect time. And I think now that we're coming up to the launch, we can see things like Breakpoint and Challenges and so many different sporting dramas and documentaries that are leaning into it. It feels like a summer of tennis, and it feels like a summer of looking into safeguarding and looking into mental health. So I think 15 Off hopefully sort of delves into all of those things within a nice kind of tasty and delicious dramatic casing. I looked at so many different stories and reports and articles, and I think that was my responsibility and my duty as a writer. And I've probably taken tiny fragments of maybe 50 or 60 different stories, not just about scandals or abuse, but also about fantastic relationships, when things go well, when relationships fall apart and there's bitterness, but there's not transgression. I really looked across, I read autobiographies and biographies, listened to podcasts, and I sort of wanted to, one of the great things about telling a fictional story is you don't put the weight of that story onto a real life person. But I think then your responsibility is to refract real life events through your fictional drama in a way that makes that drama relevant and inclusive to as many people as possible. So I wouldn't land on any particular stories, but there was a lot of research done.